SMT Nation, we are back. And we're going to be talking about emergency response and network resilience. Link for the article from Dan Jones will be provided in the description. Ways to support us can be found there as well. Please do like and share this video. Subscribe if you're new here and turn on the bell notifications icon to never miss an upload from the SMT. So is your carrier of choice, whether you have Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, are they ready to deal with hurricane season? It is upon us, right? Basically, through the next couple of months, you're going to see more and more aggressive weather. The patterns around this time of the year are very, very unpredictable. Things can get pretty extreme. So the network operators like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile typically have assets deployed relatively near geographical spaces where things can be easily accessible. So, cells on wheels are cows. Colts, which is cells on light trucks, they're mobile assets. So as extreme weather like hurricanes is bringing down infrastructure and bringing down cell sites and taking out cells, and connections become so compromised, emergency response teams are everything, right? For first responders and for folks to get out of these emergency situations. So within this article, I found it interesting. Friend of the show, founder of Recon Analytics, Roger Etner, was speaking about the response teams and the response tools that the carriers have. So T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. And he was quoted as saying they're about parity. That's his quote, not mine. I will have to say that in my estimation, based on outage extent across like a national average, if you were to take all of the major weather disasters, look at which carriers were down the most and which were down the longest, there actually is a difference, because there's two parts to this. Number one, who's got the most resilient network that stays functional, right? So a hardened network with backup power, with redundancies and things like that. And then there's the response to repair and fix in a timely fashion, because things are going to break. All of that is part of first response, right? So dealing with these types of issues. Now, Roger went on to say that 10 to 15 years ago, Verizon would have been in the lead, but now he's saying that they're about parity. I have to disagree. I don't think they're at parity at all. Still to this day, there are several cell sites for certain carriers that don't have backup power, while other networks have backup power across the entire footprint. And then there's certain carriers who have certain tools because they've invested in emergency response. Other carriers have not put in that same investment. This is just not the case. About parity is very general language, and it doesn't really tell the story. And I'm not making it about me agreeing or disagreeing with Roger. It's not really what it's about, but it goes to show you that, and I think his point is well taken. All the carriers have done things to improve and bring it closer to parity. I think that's what his point is, which I think I agree with that sentiment. So within the article, Verizon was speaking to low Earth orbit satellite backhaul, right, as emergency response. They now have that investment into AST, right? So that means maybe there's some connectivity there. And then they partnered with Skylo for connectivity and emergency services. So maybe in the case of these emergencies, the messaging piece is still capable, right? Because that might be what it takes. Messaging and location data might be what it takes to get someone help in a situation where they might be trapped or they might be in danger. They're unable to be responsive physically outside of just reaching out through a message, right? So, obviously those are like worst case scenarios, but that's the type of stuff we see with tropical storms and hurricanes and tornadoes and these really extreme weather events. And that's where I think the teams, the response, the companies that have the Thor tools, the cows, right, the Colts, and the backup power, and then the repairs. I'm telling you guys, we cannot sleep and forget about repairs. Once the event is over and things have been damaged, the urgency to go and fix and repair. That's part of the response. So that's how we need to kind of frame this. It may not be, one carrier might be more affected than others initially from the storm, but the resiliency is one thing, and then there's the recovery. which is another. So be on the lookout for your carrier boosting and bolstering your network access within these impacted areas. You know, the Gulf region comes to mind. I think about Florida. I think about Louisiana, Texas, you know, areas in that region that typically get hit hard by, you know, hurricanes. And there's other natural weather events that happen across the United States. I don't want to sit there and pretend like they don't matter. Absolutely they do. And hopefully you've learned who you can trust in these situations, because I like I said earlier, I don't truly think there's parity, but I think it's as close as it's ever been. But you know, in the case of Verizon, they've reinvested in assets that make it unique, allow them to be very responsive. You know, hopefully all carriers are starting to do this, because this extreme weather stuff is not going anywhere, right? With global climate change and with things becoming more and more unpredictable, we can expect weather to kind of follow suit. It's not going to get easier in the future. I think it gets more extreme. So these teams responding and the assets being deployed, and that's why you pay your bill, right? It's definitely part of the investment for sure. Stay safe out there, guys, and hopefully carriers continue to respond well to these events. But what do you think? What do you think about the sentiments within this article? What do you think about my take? And what's yours? Sound off in the comment section below. Y'all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.